Hey guys, so recently some friends asked me to teach them how to play the game, but I was a bit too lazy, so I just looked for a tutorial on YouTube. Problem is that all of the ones I saw, maybe I missed some, but the ones I saw are very old and very outdated. They don't cover at least half of the new skills that the cards have, like Successor, like Invoker, and many more. So today I'm gonna go through everything I can remember and we're gonna try to cover everything in the game. If I miss something, uh, just feel free to tell me what I missed down in the comments. And okay, let's begin. So from the basics, the deck has 50 cards in it. The deck has also two types of cards, extra and battle cards. Battle cards are just the ones that can attack. Extra are like the spell cards of Yu-Gi-Oh! You also have a leader that always stays here. Okay, so then from the battle cards there are limitations. Like from each battle card and extra card actually, for every card you can have at most 4 of each in the deck. From the super combos though, even though they're battle cards, you can have only 4 super combos. So whatever card it is, if you have a keyword skill super combo, you can play only 4 of them in the deck. Okay, so how to set up and start the game? First of all, you take the cards, right? You shuffle them. There are many different ways to shuffle, but let's do it like this for now. Anyway, shuffle them. The other guy cuts your deck. After that, draw 6 cards. Choose which of them you need to start off with. So for example, I don't need any of these. To be honest, maybe just the Boo. So the others I return to the deck. And shuffle again. After, let's say that this is proper shuffling just once. After that, draw the amount of cards that you put into the deck. So I put 5 cards, draw. You see, now I have more cards that I actually need. For example, I always want to have Cooler in my first hand. And Planet M2, that's a card I want to have from the very beginning. So okay, now that we did the shuffle, this is how you start the game. You add the life, you never forget the life. That's a very important thing. If you start without life, you automatically lose the game. Then you decide which one will go first, you or him. Let's say that you have to go first. When you go first, you don't draw. You just put an energy, like so. And if you can, you use a card. In my case, I'm gonna put up Planet M2. So this is a field card. What it does is, it stays in the field, it can't be removed by your opponent. And it has the effect that you can activate, in this case, it's activate battle and it's once per turn. So, this is basically the placement you do. You put 8 life, deck here, energy like this. So, the energy, you put it facing the other guy. So that's how you recognize the energy from a battle card, for example. Okay. Then you just end your turn because you can't attack if you're first. Now, if you're second, you can do the same thing, but you place the energy. This, you also get to draw a card if you're second. And you can attack. If you attack, so the attack actually goes in different steps. First, you say that you attack. You can attack either battle cards which are in rest mode. Every time you use a card, you put it in rest mode. So you can attack either the card in rest mode or the leader. The leader doesn't have to be in rest mode for you to attack it. When you attack, the guy says if he has any negates. Negates are basically these, counter attack. If he does, he uses it and he stops your attack. But if he doesn't, then it's the combo phase. Then you say, for 1 energy, I combo with this card. Why 1 energy? Because you see, over here, it says 1 energy plus 10,000k. I mean 10,000 combo power. What it does is when you sacrifice a card for combo, you don't use these, you use the combo points over here. So he has 10,000 plus 10,000, he has 20,000 now. After that, your opponent can combo if he wants. If he doesn't want, he takes a life and brings it to their hand. So that's basically how it goes. You can't combo more than once, and yeah. Okay. So we covered attacking and comboing. So yeah, that's the attack algorithm. Now counterplay and counterattack and counter. I don't have a counter card in me right now, but basically, you know, this is the counterplay. Let's say this is the energy, it's second turn. This is the counterplay. Well, it does this when your opponent plays a card. So let's say he plays the card. You say that you activate counterplay and you pay the cost. The cost is this here, right? It requires 1 blue energy and 1 whatever energy. So you play this and it returns to his hand because that's the effect of the card, and he takes the top 2 cards from his deck and puts them in the drop area. That's the effect of this card though. There are many different counterplays that just say, for example, the card is played and then it loses 20k. So basically it's played and dies. So after that it's counter attack. I already explained how you use it. The guy attacks you, you activate counter attack and you stop his attack. After that the attack is blocked and he has to attack with another card if he wants to hit you. How counter works is, let's say I use, actually the guy uses counter attack. You spend the energy you need for the counter, and you say that his counter doesn't work. So basically you stop his action towards you. I'm sorry, I'm doing like small breaks to think things through, but it really is a lot of information to process, so I'm sorry. After that, it's keyword skills. Now, how you can see if it's a keyword skill? Keyword skills are with little red text here, like double strike, arrival, energy exhaust, and so on. I'll take the time to explain all of them. Basically, the first keyword skill is on this card. It's double strike. When you attack, no matter how much damage you have, you hit the target for 1 life, right? So he takes 1 life. But this is double strike. That means that if you hit him, he takes 2 damage. There are other cards with, for example, triple strike, like this one. And there are cards with quadruple strike that you take 4 damage, which is just insane. After that, there is dual attack. Dual attack isn't like double strike. It means that you can do the following. Let's imagine this has dual attack on this side. So you do first attack. He says if he has a counter. If he doesn't, you restand him. And the attack still goes through. So basically you can attack 2 times with 1 card if he has dual attack. There are some cards that have dual attack and double strike as well, which are very good and typically used as finishers. After that we have critical. Critical, I don't think I have a card like this in the deck. But basically, if there's a keyword critical about here, it means that when I take the damage from the life, it doesn't go to my hand, it goes to the drop area. So yeah, next one is barrier. Actually, this deck doesn't have cards with barrier as well. Okay, this is actually making it kind of hard to explain. I should have chosen another deck, but anyway. Barrier means that it can't be targeted by your opponent's skills. So let's say I use this counter. It has a added effect that two of your opponent's cards get lowered by 15,000 power. But if they have barrier, because this card chooses them, they can't be chosen by your opponent's skills, so they are unaffected. After that, it's the keyword skill is blocker. Blocker is just a basic battle card, but he has in red text written blocker. That means that, let's say your opponent says that he's gonna attack you. You say I activate blocker, and you just sacrifice him to protect your leader. Blocker works the same way as counter attack, and it's used in the same time window. After that, you have deflect. Deflect means that, let's say I play a counterplay, but deflect means that it isn't affected by counterplays. So basically I just wasted the energy and the card, and nothing happened to the opponent. After that is revenge. What revenge means is that, let's say there's a card with revenge and blocker in it, right? You use the cards, let's say this is it, use the cards to block, and after the battle is over, your opponent's card dies. That's what revenge means. Basically, if the opponent hits the card, it dies after that. After that, it's invincible. So the only cards, at least the ones I know in the game, that have invincible in them are the Zamasu cards. What the effect means is that it can't be removed from the battle, like it can't die. There are only a few cards that can remove them from the battle area, but it's not that easy to do it. Another effect is, for example, revive. What revive does is, let's say this has revive. It has been sent to the drop area, and in the same turn, let's say the revive requires you to sacrifice a card from your hand. I sacrifice this one, and it comes back into play. That is basically how revive works. After that, it's offering. How offering works is, again, little red text. You play the card, and your opponent has a choice. Either he removes one life to the drop area, or you get to draw two cards. So you have you have the card advantage now. One of the new keyword skills is Invoker. There are, for now at least, only red and blue. What that means is that I don't have dual colored extra cards, but still, let's say this is an extra card. This is a spell card in this case. So what it means is that you can play, no matter what the energy cost is, you can play with Invoker. You can play any extra card for one energy. Just for one energy, you play any extra card if you have Invoker on the field. Now Successor. Successor is a bit different, let's say. Successor requires you, for example, let's say that there's text here that says Successor 8 and 2 energies. That means that you have to have a total of 8 cost battle cards on the field. So you sacrifice these two, they go to the drop, and you play the Successor card for 8 costs after you pay the energy you need for it. So yeah, it's actually a really good mechanic. I really like it from the new set. But for now, the only deck that uses it is... Actually, not only deck, there's Universe 11, Cell, and Android 13. Sadly, I do not like either of them. Now, the other cards are the Union cards. There is Union Absorb, there is Union Fusion, and Union Potara. Let's say this is for Union Fusion. You sacrifice the 2 required cards from your hand, you pay the energy cost, and you just place the fusion on the board. Now, if it's Union Potara, you need the 2 cards to be on the board first. After that, you pay the energy cost and you place this card on top of both of them. That's how Union Potara works. Now let's say it's Union Absorb. Every single Union Absorb card has different effects and different things you need to accomplish to use it. But let's say, for example, I use this card's Union Absorb, and it says 2 cards from my hand under it, and I choose 1 card from the deck to play over it. Let's say this one. That's basically how Union Absorb works. After that, Arrival. Arrival is actually the mechanic I use most in this deck. What it does is, you see, it's written here, example, Arrival, 1 red. So you can play this card for 1 red energy only. What you need to do for it is attack with your leader. For 1 energy, you sacrifice a dual-colored card. You can also sacrifice 1 blue and 1 red card. It still works the same way. You need to have red and blue in your combo area. And for 1 energy, you use Arrival, and he has Arrival effects when you play him, at least this one. But yeah, basically for 1 energy you got on the field 20k double strike. So if you can't put Arrivals in your deck, that's at least what I do. What other mechanics there are in the game? Evolve. Evolve means that, let's say you have Cooler on the field, and you have a Frieza card in your hand. Actually, I have the cards in my hand to explain it. Oh my god. Let's say you have this on the field, and it says for 3 energy you can evolve into a 5 cost Frieza. So you use the 3 energy, and you play the 5 cost Frieza on top of it. That's basically it. Evolve is very simple. Now there is EX Evolve. EX Evolve is a bit easier to evolve into, but the requirement is higher. Like, if this requires any 5 cost Frieza on top of it, let's say this is a 7 cost Frieza that requires a 5 cost Frieza. Exactly 5 cost. So you sacrifice 2 cards from your hand with a certain requirement, and you place this on top of it. That's how EX Evolve works. Now, Xeno Evolve is a bit different. With Xeno Evolve, what you do is you have a card on the field, and you fulfill the requirements to evolve it. You place this one, you remove this one to the drop or warp. Depends what the card wants. So, you might have noticed that I use dual-colored cards. They are added in the last 3 series, and they're actually very OP. But, for example, if it's the first turn, because you have... This can be used both as red and as blue energy, so it's very OP. That's why, to balance the game out, in the beginning, on the first turn, if you want to add this to your energy area, you put it in rest mode, so you can't use energy the first turn. After that, let's say as a second turn, and in your hand you have... where is it? Don't tell me. This Frieza. This Frieza says that if you have a dual-colored card in your energy, he ignores energy exhaust. So basically you can put him after that in active mode. As well as all the monocolored cards go in active mode. So, after that, what can we explain? Outside of keyword skills, there are also activate battles. For example, this one has an activate main and activate battle. Activate main means that in my turn, I can use 3 energy and use his effect. Activate battle means that I have to have attacked first, then use energy to use his effect. So activate main and activate battle, one you do during your turn, the other during an attack. You can do it in your opponent's turn or in your turn. The other effect is auto. As you might have noticed, a lot of my cards have auto effects. For example, when this card is played, it has auto effect. Your opponent chooses the top card from their deck and places it in the drop area. After that, you choose 2 of their cards, ignoring barrier, which is very important, and they lose 10,000 power. So the auto effect goes off when this card is played, but there are others that say when this card attacks. For example, the 5-cost Frieza I use in the deck. This one, right? So this attacks and the auto goes off. Now, you might say that it's a bit too OP, and it is. Because, let's say, I play him, he decides to play a counter play that stops his effects, let's say. So he plays a counter play that stops his effects. But the moment he is put into play, the auto is in pending, which means that even if his effects are deleted or erased, the auto still goes off because the action required for it was done. And with this one, if you attack and the opponent negates with this card, the auto still goes off because it says when it attacks, not when it hits something. So in every card, please read the text very carefully because misinterpretation is one of the biggest problems in the game right now. So yeah, that's basically it. You win the game when your opponent loses all of their life, and you lose the game if you lose all of your life. That's basically how the game works. Don't forget, every turn put down an energy. If you think you don't need any more energy, you can of course not do it, but I would recommend putting more energy. So that's the basic tips I can give for now. If I have any ideas of something I missed in the future, I'll add it in the description. I hope this was useful to any of you, and see you guys in the next video.